that spiritual transformers, if I can use that term, for masters who wanted people to transform, they have used. Slow down, meditate. These are all ways to induce people into a non-ordinary state of conscious being, in which there will be a lot of unconscious, because thoughts will slow down, there is not so much quantum collapse of events in between your unconscious, and that's the state of being which helps us to be
like
spiritual.
more like going to the enlightenment stuff than to the transformation stuff.
And the transformation of the world, which requires much more doing. So the idea came to me because one of the things that I have learned from the beginning when we developed a quantum theory of creativity, that in creativity, do and be both are important. I call this process do sometimes, we make fun of it. Because, we don't take anything too seriously. So you have this do, and then quantum activism starts making sense, because it's the same thing there. Quantum activism, quantum consciousness is about being, and activism about doing. So the two put together made a lot of sense from this perspective.
Definitely. Yeah, we signed do. Should quantum activists write their quantum activists in their business cards?
Yeah, why not? When the movement becomes clear. But of course, initially there will be some lack of clarity about, like you asked a legitimate question, why use the word activism? Because, spiritual transformations usually would say that, no, if you want to transform, it's the opposite of activism that is needed. But we are in a peculiar circumstance, because we are saying literally, quantum physics, the new science is saying literally, that both the world and the and consciousness in the unconscious, which is no activity at all, both are important. So you see, if both is important, then you emphasize both in a certain way. So these are just attempts of doing exactly that. Quantum activism is the main goals are transformation of yourself, but also transformation of the world. So emphasis on spirituality, but emphasis is also on evolution of the world. Emphasis is on personal goals of spirituality, but there is also an evolutionary goal of spirituality, which is to transform the world and bring the archetypes not only in yourself, love, beauty, justice, and all that, but also in the world.
What special comments would you have regarding the business world? Let me put at this point that Steve Jobs just left Apple. He's got this illness in his pancreas, which recalled us about the chakra thing and the way energy goes. I have an aunt, she's 101, and she's just healthy as me. So I said, well, but she lives in Rio de Janeiro in a beautiful beach. She didn't transform the whole technology and the whole communication in the world. So how could an idea of high-level realization, manifestation of business, of things and development in technology be related not to the materialist science so deeply that somebody gets sick? I mean, I am assuming that this sickness has to do with the way of dealing with the whole thing. But in the other hand, I have 10,000 followers that are in business, and they want to do the best, but they want to see themselves. They are seeking for this light or for this self-knowledge. And we have this approach which, you know what, do, we sign this on you. Do, we are quantic activists, and we sign this for a while, and then sometimes we explain. So coming back to the point, organizations don't want to go bankruptcy, but yeah, companies are companies. What specific comments or inspirations could you give us in the business world that we could take into consideration for this job?
One is pure inspiration. Business world, through recognition that consciousness is the ground of being, immediately gets an enormous relief that material stuff that is gradually running out of gas. You know, what I mean is that innovation in material arena of things is gradually decreasing. It's not a question of people are just not doing it. People are as creative as ever. That's not the issue. The issue is that the material arena itself, the idea of considering, you know, material innovation forever continuing, this idea has to be given up. Already it's limited. Already we are seeing that much of materials research, really, if defense industry didn't exist, businesses would be helpless already. If defense industry doesn't exist, much of the research that we call research in the material arena would fall flat. There's just no place to go. No place to go. Only defense keeps them alive. So communications, of course, computers, cell phones, everybody likes.
Yeah, exactly.
How far can you go with computers? We already have enough for carrying out things that we need. Really, how far can we go in this demand of faster? It's already very fast, much faster than most people can use, right? So what I'm saying is that this is limited. Eventually, this won't go on, cannot go on. So how do we run economy then? Economy is hooked into expansion. We got to expand or we get into this recessionary period that we never can get out of. So you see the problem? So businesses can really exhale a huge sigh of relief that there is new arena of business productivity in the office. Because as soon as you realize consciousness is the ground of being, we also realize that not only the mental, not only the material, but also the mental can be within consciousness and can be possible worlds. So like Carl Jung used to say that there are 4 different kinds of experience and we have 4 different kinds of personality which emphasize these various experiences. Not only we have sensing for the physical and thinking for the mental, but we also have vital for feeling, and we have intuition for the archetypes, like love, beauty, justice, those things, values. So 4 different worlds and 4 different arenas of economic activity. Why do we restrict ourselves to the material arena of businesses? Businesses can be about vital energies that we could feel. They could bring alive things such as food and nutrition and medicine, which we already do partially, even perfumes and fragrances and cosmetics and many new products. You know, I was just talking with a businesswoman and a businessman, having lunch with them, and I was saying that there is just so much scope. Even a house, how we build a house and how we live in a house, vital energy has a component to contribute. So technology, vital energy technology, vital energy is the energy we feel. Let's not be confused. It's not material energy. It's the energy of vitality that gives life its meaning. Vital energy technology is going to be the central technology, central expanding technology, the frontier of 21st century. This, when the businesses realize, they can relax. They don't have to run out of innovative ideas because they are going to run out of material innovation. But vital energy, enormous scope of innovation. Enormous. New frontier.
In what directions, let's say, about products?
Well, so the products will be somewhat different. Some of the products will be the same. Like, you know, the food is big industry in material arena. Health is big industry in material arena, 60%, that's huge. Health, yeah. So, cosmetics, perfume, these are big industries. Not as big as health, but yeah, relatively quite big. Housing, aesthetics, big industries. Not so big compared to, of course, you know. Remember, we exclude We accept the fact that as the world evolves more and more, defense will no longer be a viable industrial outlet.
Industrial?
Outlet. It has to be accepted. Weapons making is going to be archaic. Very soon. How soon, nobody knows. Many people expected after World War II we have gotten rid of war, but unfortunately Cold War continued, huge weapons expansion, and now the wars continue. But I think it can be fairly expected that weapons expansion, this kind of thing will not take place in our race for very long. So then, peaceful energies has to come, loving energies have to come, and we find new ways of enhancing these energies, amplifying these energies. That's the technology that we're talking about. At this point, we have some preliminary ideas, like I'm working with Natura to develop a vitalized perfume or vitalized cosmetics. Other people are talking about vitalizing water rather than take the chemically treated water, which does not give us much vital energy. It's pretty obvious. We are innervated for vital energy. We feel it sometimes. You don't feel as much energy from water anymore. And certainly bottled water, which is purified water, which is doubly chemically treated, is worse than regular water from the tap. Only water that comes from springs. But we know this is the thing. We have to look for what is vitalized water and what is not. But very soon it's going to be, we're running out of pure water in springs that we can drink, which has the vital energy that we expect from water. So this vitalized water is going to be a huge business. I don't know how we will.
And how are you going to vitalize water?
That's a secret. I
am in your room. You're going to keep secrets from me? Our relationship's not beginning quite well, Doctor. I'm going to right on the point and then I lost one already.
Natura made us, Adriana and I were there to talk about it. The first thing they did is they made us sign a contract, secret contract.
Okay.
So we are in secrecy until they start producing it. I suppose we'll be bound by that secrecy. But let's say that vitalization is just putting vital energy back into the product that we are talking about. Water treated with chemicals loses some of the association with vital energy. If we drink it, we don't get the, in quantum language, it's a non-locally correlated vital energy. Water from a spring, which is not chemically treated, has not only just the chemical called H2O, but also has this correlated vital energy which we get, which is why we feel so refreshed. But we don't feel so refreshed drinking tap water. It does satisfy the physical body, but it does not satisfy our vital body. And so vitalized water, if we knew the trick of putting back in the vital energy that chemical purification has disassociated, if we know the rules of reassociation, then we have vitalized water. And then again, we get the vital energy properly. Now imagine how big an industry this would be, because we really have ruined drinking water problem. It's severe, Unless you live very high in the mountains, and the pollution is now so bad that, cities like Sao Paulo, you have to take chemically treated water. Why are you going to find spring water here?
Well, let me offer myself, if there is any kind of meditation in that process, I can go there and do it for you guys. I'll be a subject. I test the water for you to see, yeah, this one's vitalized, that one's not so good.
You just gave me another idea of talking about vital energy. Meditation. Like, in the olden days, when we take food, we bless it, right? Meditate on it. What we forget is that part of that process is to vitalize the food, to put the vital energy of the person who is offering the food. That's the blessing. The blessing is, usually that's why the householder, whose house you are taking the food, the householder gives the blessing, which is that let my vital energy be nutritional to you. That's the whole idea. So these vital energy aspects we have forgotten. And suppose we made a ritual of healthy vital energy all of us, but suppose we have people who comes and blesses the food with his vital energy.
Wow.
Isn't that right? So this is what I mean by conscious economics, spiritual economics. We process you are becoming more whole. You are becoming not only a whole between physical, different parts of the physical, different organs, but you're also being whole with the vital that goes with every organ.
Yeah, it makes all sense. Thinking about average East business people from America, Brazil, Australia, maybe some of Asia, talking about that looks like this is something for the Western and for the mystics, and they're what they're talking about. They're not doing. I mean, we've been feeling this change, and I'm in this move, but I'm talking. I'm trying to make the otherwise talk like.
No, you're right. I mean, this seems so bizarre.
Yeah,
Right?
because it's like, what? We're going to have vitalizers in the restaurant or like a business?
Yeah. To propose to his girlfriend this marriage thing. And suppose we have the technology to, for the girl to actually, okay, you are proposing marriage to me, you love me, let's see if you love me. And the girl takes this instrument near the heart chakra of the person, the fiancé, and actually can check if the love is real or not.
My mother would do that with those little things.
Yeah, pendulum, right. No, but they're not funny. That is the thing.
Oh yeah.
I now know that the science behind it is really workable science because of it is the, it's sensitive to the vital energies that really do change when we lie. And this sensitivity is captured in the fingers, in the skin, which then gives very subtle movements which moves the pendulum this way or that way, if it is true or doesn't move, if it is not. So it really, this kinesiology which was discovered some time ago, these things one can make fun of, but when one realizes the science behind it, which no longer would make fun of it. But the instrument that I'm talking about is even going to be much more sophisticated and much less subjective. They're going to be purely objective. So you can
Yeah,
very
this is the thing that makes not being bizarre anymore.
Right. I mean, I agree. I mean, I myself was laughed at pendulums a whole bunch, but in my time. But I don't anymore at the level of sophistication that instruments like Kirlian photography as a measurement device.
Like what photography?
Kirlian photography. K-I-R.
Oh, yeah. Kilo.
As a measurement device for vital energy. Why? Because there's a guy named Dr. Chauhan in India who takes Kirlian photography of the heart chakra and can tell very early signs of breast cancer in women. Especially, grieving women has special propensity to arrive at breast cancer. Why? The vital energy explanation, the new science explanation is very simple. What she is doing is she is blocking heart energy. And the heart chakra is the location of the thymus gland, which has the capacity of, that's part of the immune system, which has the capacity of killing off potentially cancerous cells. So if vital energy is cut off, then immune system doesn't
Undefended.
function. Yeah, and you cannot defend against these abnormal cells that are continuously created in our body. So it's so dangerous. And what this man, Dr. Chauhan, is doing is that he's catching it at very early stages by seeing that the vital energy is much reduced than normal expectation of the heart chakra. And then, clear it up. At that point, we have choices. We don't even have to use necessarily radiation or chemotherapy or surgery. We have choices of using just vital or mental techniques to clear up. For example, we can just see that to encourage the person to love again, and just songs of love, maybe that will be itself be enough to clear up the vital energy block.
And if she's not correspondent, she'll be listening to songs of love, and it works anyway. Even if she's not in love with somebody else, like in a romance.
That would be wonderful, but just by encouraging her to sing in her shower, "Here I am in love again," might do the trick.
That's beautiful. I cried in that one. What is the singing? Here I am. What's the melody?
Here I am in love again.
Here I am in love again. Everybody singing this in that workshop was just like her. So we talked about the heart chakra and this about feelings. What about the pancreas? Just not to me forget about my friend.
Well, these are a bit harder because when the cancer spreads to such as digestive, liver, pancreas, these organs, it is harder to heal them because it's more progressed much more. That organ is a suggestion that not only the immune system has gone bad, but it has affected, the immune system going bad has affected an area which is a bit farther away from heart chakra. So not only there is the block of heart chakra affecting the immune system, but there is in addition block in the navel chakra, which is connected with the body ego. Now this body-ego connection loss is a very difficult one because this is the long tradition of huge, humongous stress on this person. Because it is that stress that acts on ourselves to really denigrate our sense of self-assurance, sense of self-respect, sense of self-gravitas, dignity, you know. When you hear such a thing as Steve Jobs getting pancreatic cancer, you have to recognize how much stress this man is under. I mean, he's an enormously creative man, right? Enormously creative. And he has been enormously creative even when he has been sick with cancer and temporary remission, and immediately he becomes creative again. That shows you that how much stress he can handle. But in spite of it, even the Superman has its limit. And so the stress just got to him. He has been very right in letting go of all this stress. Now he can just be creative. Chairman of the board of Apple Company is an ideal position for a visionary man, but he doesn't have to be CEO. Not only do vision, but also carry out the vision, which is a lot of stress. That he should not have undertaken.
I've heard about pancreas, or studied or read or something within clinic experience that has to do with sugar and diabetes in one hand or hypoglycemia in the other hand, and it's like lack of sweetness and not wanting to hear nobody, like being too much by oneself in one hand, or listening too much to other people if it's hypoglycemia. I know this is only one level of metaphysics material.
Material level, pancreas's function and part of liver function, of course, is connected with diabetes and hypoglycemia and all this stuff.
Yeah, okay.
That's all true, but that's only the material level.
Mm-hmm.
In the vital level is a different story. I mean, it's the same idea. It's the digestive system that is gone all right. But what happens when the digestive system goes all right to our feeling of ourselves, feeling of identifying with the body? That's why we become weak. And so when that happens, then we lose the self-assurance, the self-security that we have. We're not
so
secure.
deeply and secretly maybe deeply?
Well, I'm not doing my job is a deep insecurity, right? When you are too much under stress, what happens? We feel that constant. I have felt it myself. When there is just too much, what happens is that the stomach chakra becomes unsettled. So immediately you know, because the feelings that come is that little thing disturbs you. You're not adequately doing the job.
Mm-hmm.
That's the feeling. And that only unfortunately increases the mental stress. And it is just more mental stress, more feeling of insecurity, and so it becomes a vicious circle. How do you end it? The only way to end it is relax. Give it up. Give up all this stress.
Go to Bali, give it up.
Yeah, go to
Usa
Bali.
aquela câmera, por favor.
Go to Bali. is a
Go
very
to
good
Bali,
idea.
give it up, please. But I go to Bali working, oh gosh, no, don't do it. So just a hook for technology, as we are talking about, dear Steve Jobs. Those thousands of young people, Y generation and blah blah, are online all the time, tweeting, Twitter and Facebook. And I've just bought that book of technology, like Consciousness Through Technology, wrote something like a foreword or something. But the issue is, it looks to me like vicious, a drug, like waiting for the next Twitter, little touchings with Facebook. Yeah, I have a company that works in technology as well. But it's like, is that a way? Are we really connecting to each other, or this generation, which is young people just there, going far from, because that's like next popcorn, and it's popping there. And I have kids, teenagers, and I teach in schools, and I am everywhere with those youngs, and I say, I think it's too much.
Yeah, not only to...
It's the use of it to go to that direction.
Yeah, of course we have to, first priority is first priority, which is we have to change our worldview, the consciousness in our worldview.
Okay, I have two more quick themes that I would like to double believe. Since we went to the heart chakra and the love affairs, I want to know about love and sex. Brazil is a very sensual culture. We are very affective. And in one hand, this is a subject of interest. In the other hand, we've been watching the rise of homosexuality all over the world. Some people describe me some experiences with crocodiles, saying that some chemical stuff, I don't know where in the water or what, had made a change, and that could be influencing even the physical body and blah blah. But it's an issue that the freedom of expression show it up more. But the question they bring to me is, and I would love to listen your view about it. What's going on that homosexuals are growing bigger in all cultures, especially in Brazil? We have the biggest gay parade in the world. It's like...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Avenida Paulista here, we are the #1 gay parade. It's a party that takes us like 24 hours, and gays from all over the world come here and they make a big, huge party. So more male gays I'm talking about. But in the party there are females too, I guess. It's a gay party, but the male gay thing is growing bigger. Is there a reason, or how do you see that in terms of sexuality?
I really didn't know that. I mean, I thought it's more or less the 10%, and that's pretty fixed for many, many years. But you were saying that there really is a change in the percentage of gay people?
Yeah, there is. I don't have precise numbers right here, but there are numbers about it, and the perception is huge. In perception.
No, that should be just coming up. I mean, it's fashionable now to be gay. This is the time when gays are being liberated, so to speak, because that they can say publicly that I'm gay and it's okay. And it is okay, by the way. I mean, it is a orientation that arises, I think, from mainly reincarnational lack of adjustment to reincarnation in the wrong body than the expected one. Suppose you were a female in the last incarnation, and then by accident you became incarnated in the male body this time, but in your heart you are a female. So, naturally this person would look for a macho male who would be the right person to have a relationship, just as a female would if he were born as a female. So transsexuality is a huge sacrifice, because then this person can never have a child. short of making that sacrifice, of course, one opts for the homosexual option. And so it is completely part of the way we are designed. So it's part of the this kind of mistake of transition of one incarnation into another will take place, will happen occasionally. So it's part of nature, and therefore we should never condemn homosexuality. We just have to recognize that it is part of the natural way that things happen. But that being said, the point is that there is nothing great about the homosexual situation either. For example, unless we relax the situation a whole lot, and even if we did, even then, not being able to hold a baby in one's body, as would happen if a lesbian would be strictly a lesbian, that is a tremendous sacrifice for a woman, because the woman has an enormous opportunity of being truly non-local with the baby, by holding the baby for 9 months. Just imagine. I cannot imagine because I'm a male. But I'm forced to make this sacrifice. The woman is making this sacrifice volitionally. And that would surely create a conflict between the maternal instinct, which is in the brain circuit of the woman, and the physical situation, which is that by the reincarnational maladjustment, she's stuck with the desire to be not to seek a man, but to seek a woman in this incarnation. So you see what I mean? It's just a matter of some problem that we have to solve. So it's not a panacea of solutions. It's also a panacea of problems, being unusual in that respect. So I'm all glad that it is coming out in the open, because now we can talk about this problem of being a homosexual and perhaps solve it. Before, they were so busy hiding that, of course, there was only more complications.
And for the man, the same thing about the children.
Well, for the man is forced to make the sacrifice. So at least the man is not making the sacrifice in a forced kind of way. It's already there. I mean, man's body means that you cannot hold a child in your body.
Anyway,
you don't have that particular experience, but you don't have that particular intention either, because you know it already. So you don't have that mismatch of your instinct, which is to have a child in the body, and your other instinct that no, I'm not attracted biologically to a man. This causes a conflict among two instincts. Both are instincts, because here you are, you literally do not feel biological attraction to men. And that is the only way you can have a child in your room, unless you go unless you can go the chemical route, which of course is available. That may be a way of solving the problem. You can get a test tube baby and transfer it to the womb. And that's a possibility.
Well,
yeah.
So let's point in eroticity between men and women. Interesting subject to Brazil, interesting subject to the world, to humanity, I think, since always and forever. Some meditation groups say that eroticity or making love with a man, between a man and a woman, it's a way of the gods being with them, and it's the basis energy that when you go higher, and it's quite the same energy. What is making love and this being together with another person, forming the question, has to do with this possibility of vital energy and yourself and to love the other. What is your perception about this?
Well, the new science is telling us a lot, because it sort of explains the different chakras. So the chakras are there because we have blueprints of biological form called morphogenetic fields. And organs are physical representations of this morphogenetic field.
Of this
Morphogenetic field.
Morphogenetic.
This is a term that Rupert Sheldrake used first in this connotation. It's a very, very good idea, very new idea, very poignant idea. So, movement of this morphogenetic field is what we feel. When you say I'm feeling sad, when you say I'm feeling love, you know, that reflections of virtually the same thing. Sad is when energy is going out. I'm not paying attention to the heart chakra, and love is when you are paying attention to the heart chakra. But what does that mean, paying attention to the heart chakra? It means that the immune system, which is part of the region of the heart, in the form of thymus gland, is present right near the heart. And the associated morphogenetic field, both are being involved. When the heart chakra, both are being involved. Both are involved when the heart chakra is active. So, immune system is the system where it is decided me or not me, you and not you. So, if your immune system accepts somebody in romantic love, that means immune system is in sync. This is me. This is me means I want to be biologically united with this person. So that produces romantic love. Now it so happens that romantic love can be it's ultimately this whole biological function arose because of much more general concept of love, which is a mental concept, and then it's even bigger than that. It's an archetype. This concept of archetype that Plato gave us, these are the what gives us values. Love is one of the values. But love is an archetype means that we cannot completely represent it neither by thinking nor by feeling. So we all think about love, but it's never going to be enough, because we have not been able to represent this archetype properly. It's very difficult. I mean, you can do it 1,000 times and you still don't know what love is. So this feeling that we get romantic love is just one of the representations of the archetype. There are many more profound representations, and once we get into the romantic love, if you are observant enough, then we say, well, can we make this feeling permanent? Because that feeling that came with just the romantic love, the bodily part of the love, that I want to be bodily united with this person, that dries up after a while. The brain circuits, etc., there's a lot of stuff going on, chemical, much of it, makes sure of one thing, that we get habituated to one particular partner in a very sexual way of speaking. This romantic feeling when there was just, you know, I cannot do without him, I cannot do without her, that oneness that flew from it, that interconnectedness, that was like quantum non-locality oftentimes. You know, we just one sort of thing. Can we bring that we are one, that feeling, even when that romantic biological stuff is not happening anymore? So that's the search for love. And in that sense, if making love is making love all the time, it would be nice, but unfortunately, as I said, that part becomes habituated, and then we have to really make more profound representations of love if we were to go on with the same partner. That is why we have the concept of marriage. Marriage is a commitment to continue to bring love, in spite of the fact that the biological part of love is not doing its job anymore. I mean, having sex is not raising the energy anymore to the heart chakra. What you do, you can be stuck, or you can say, no, I want to study this, I want to explore this. So that exploration is possible only within a commitment. So marriage is the commitment to explore love beyond romantic love. When you start doing that, it's a creative process. And if you go through the creative process in the proper way, you have the insights that will require the change in your mindset, in your way that you partake in your feelings. Those changes, if you bring them properly, the changes come in various forms, but one form I particularly like. One of the languages that the changes are often put is discovery of the otherness of the other. This is Carol Gilligan, a sociologist, her language. discovering the otherness of the other. So for the first time, respect for the other person's opinions, other person's ways of living, that arises naturally in our being. And then really this love thing takes on a different fragrance altogether. Before, love was this biological, romantic thing. We make it fruition by having sex, bodily union. And now we make love through also, in addition to the sex, we also bring respect to each other. Respectful love. It's the difference. So it's full of dignity. There is dignity now in making love. Before, making love is just a biological thing. Monkeys do it, birds do it, as we said. Bees do it. But now there is something else that bees don't do, birds cannot do, monkeys cannot do, only human beings can do. Make love with respect for each other. That's tremendous. And then, if you really want to bring quantum love, when you get into this tangled hierarchy, this is where things really become mysterious. Because this is one way to really get into non-local consciousness where the two are truly united, not that biological union through sex organs, but really united as forever. And it's an unthinkable wonderment of the possibility of the human consciousness to be really interconnected with another person whenever they are relaxed. I'm sure that you have this image, I certainly have this image of a couple just sitting and doing their own thing with a sublime smile in their faces. That smile signifies happiness. And what are they happy about? They're just doing their own thing, maybe just reading newspaper or solving a crossword puzzle, one of them. And the other one maybe just doing ordinary or watching a golf game on the TV. But they have this sublimeness in their behavior. What happened? What happened was they have acquired this tangled hierarchical relationship in which whenever they are relaxed, they are one. They fall into this non-local consciousness.
I've been from Krishnamurti. How long have you been married to her?
13 years. 13.
13? We told that we can have romantic love with many people, but the true love or the love of commitment shouldn't be messed around. I don't know. I mean, are you saying that we should be married to a person and be loyal to that person and not have other affairs out of marriage?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of misconception about having romantic love in this culture because, of course, romance found also some epitome of fulfillment. And when I say that no commitment is really, because see, this is the thing. If you break the commitment, you have forever, not forever I hope, but for a long time you have lost the trust of the other person. This is the other thing. Respect is very good, but respect doesn't come without trust. So then with this person to have a tangled hierarchical relationship ever is just going to be so much more difficult. So I think, the point is, the whole point of marriage, if you are into romantic love, stay unmarried and have series of romantic love. That I absolutely have no qualms about. That's your privilege. Human beings are allowed to have body-centered life. That's a body-centered life, and you just take it in stride, that's what you're living, and that's fine. Occasionally you feel very lonely, and you don't feel the depth of love. It's very, in the terms that we are talking about, it's rather shallow, although it's not as shallow as love for conquesting. That's the shallowest, sex for conquesting. Mm-hmm. Love does not even, the word love should not even be used for people who just have sex, casual sex or things like that. So, they're great. So there is casual sex, which should not even be, love should not even be a term to it, except as a deception, except as pretend, and then we have romantic love, which is a real thing, but its objective is not permanently fixated at that state. The objective is to elevate us so that encourage us to marry, get committed, and then really start the adventure of finding love as archetype, not even mental, but archetype. So when you have that kind of adventure in your potential, who wants to be satisfied with just a series of romantic love? So the point that we have to recognize is that that level, although human love has its potential, but when we are using just the level of sexuality at that, moving on from one to the other, and not satisfying the potential of this experience of making love, I wondered if we would remain satisfied forever. Because satisfaction is a very fine thing. Although romantic love will temporarily satisfy, certainly, but you cannot just spend the whole day having sex, right? So when you are not making love, or using sex to make love, that's the right way of using those words. Making love, why do we call it making love? Because we use sex to make love. But how many times can you have sex during a day? The rest of the time you have to live with yourself, and then that means going into the other chakras, and those chakras also have to be satisfied. So I suppose the higher chakras would soon tell you that this is not a life of satisfaction. You're not finding satisfaction in this way of moving from one romantic love partner to another. Sounds glamorous. We see James Bond doing it in the films, and we think that would be great.
Yeah, teenagers here, I don't know if that's an information, but teenagers here and young people here, they go to parties and they can kiss each other how many times they want, and that's not bad as it used to be 20 years ago. So it's like they're allowed to experiment, and they're allowed to have different ways of gathering together. And that also seems to be a tendency, that people are not going to be, valuing self. And this dependency or the danger or whatever, you could comment about that, I would appreciate.
Well, the one thing that is very destructive about alcohol is that it generally puts the brain in disconnection with vital energy. So, that's the stupor. Eventually, if you take too much alcohol, you feel stupid, you cannot think. That is the lack of connection with the vital energies that eventually lacks. Not only the brain capacity of thinking is gone, but the vital aspects are also gone with alcohol. So alcohol is not good stuff unless you use it in moderation. It is said that there are some red wines, especially if you take them moderately, then they can increase the longevity, meaning that they may have some good vital energies still there.
Like wine.
Red wine especially. But taking too much, obviously, that ruins everything. Obviously, then increasingly the brain becomes detached from not only mental thoughts, but also vital energy, signified by the fact that confusion, which is when you cannot attend to the third eye chakra anymore, then you have complete lack of clarity, which is confusion. And what is the main signature that you are drunk, which is that you're confused about everything, you cannot figure out what is what. So kids just should know that to knowingly begin enjoying those states of consciousness is just ultimate of stupidity, because lack of clarity, if you want to make lack of clarity as part of your life, who would do that knowingly? I'm telling you, this is the truth. I'm telling the young people that this is the truth. The new science has no doubt that these chakras are real stuff. One should keep these chakras open. Anytime we take too much alcohol, we close off the third eye, the eye of clarity, intuitive domain of our life. So which would you like? Would you like intuition and creativity, or would you like life of stupidity and confusion? Your choice. That's what I would say to young people. Your
Good.
choice.
Well, it's a good advice for that. Okay. Quantum activists should achieve, if you would say in one word. I like one word thing.
It's a one-word thing.
What's
but
the word?
It's a complex sentence, so it's really
I know, but that's not fair.
It's transforming oneself and transforming the world. So it requires at least two,
Okay.
two sentences.
Well, I make a living by two questions that you're going to answer sooner or later. He's giving you. So two words, two phrases is good enough. $1 billion. That was beautiful.